everybody. Happy HBK Wellness Wednesday. Master Trainer Kiona Leah back with you guys again for another one of our wellness tips. This one is one that is near and dear to every T-Tapper's heart, and that is your lymph system. I wanted to talk about something tonight that has an impact on everything that we do. Last week we talked about our belly camp, or how to whittle the waist, and initially I told the students I would talk about something that was really going to help slim us down. But then I got a question about the brushing. So we ended up talking about the brushing. But the reality is, in many ways, both of those two things are actually related because they both are so good for our lymphatic system. Now, for the most part, people nowadays are very educated on their lymph system. You know, when you go to the doctor with an ear infection or a throat infection, the first thing they do is reach up here and feel for these glands to see if you have swollen glands. Those are actually swollen lymph nodes. Now, the lymphatic system itself is what helps produce, carry, and move lymphocytes through the entire body. But the lymph fluid doesn't just do that. It also helps move other toxins. It helps balance the body's actual fluid retention system. So it helps balance the fluid amount in the entire body. So a lot of times when we bloat through that middle, things kind of puff up. That often is related to a sluggish lymphatic system. So it's not just for when you get sick. That's part of why the T-Tap method focuses so much on using the lymph system to help us sculpt and lose inches more quickly. So I thought we'll talk about a little bit of what we do within that system and how it helps, and then some other things that you can do to help support that very important system for keeping the body healthy, fit, and balanced. So first off, of course, T-Tap is very effective for this, but prior to T-Tap, one of the most effective workouts that you can do for your lymphatic system is walking. It's more effective than running because it activates the calf at a much higher level. It allows the calf to extend and flex. Running, you tend to stay on your toes in order to maintain your speed, which shortens the amount of extension that calf muscle has. Only when your heel presses all the way down do you get that full extension of the calf muscle. So that full extension and then tightening of the calf muscle itself is going to help move the lymph through the body. Those that have stayed in hospital and had to be bedridden for a while, a foot pump is something that's a rather common practice because it helps to activate that calf muscle while you're still lying down. That is what is known as the heart of the lymphatic system. Believe it or not, when I first certified to be a T-Tap trainer almost 19 years ago now, that was in the pop quiz Teresa Tapp gave us. What is the heart of the lymphatic system? And believe me, you never forget once you have that as a pop quiz. So very important, but it's not just there. The body itself has 500 to 600 lymph nodes from head to toe. And while the heaviest concentrations of them are kind of up here around our head and through our chest, we also have a heavy concentration of them down here towards the groin where the legs meet. And they do run all the way down the legs, front and back, around the spine itself, in the armpits, a whole bunch. You've got a big concentration of them here and under here as well. So if you guys remember the brushing sequence I did last week, remember we went down and across in that armpit. That is why we're doing that. I bet none of us really care if we have slightly saggy skin under our armpits, but what we do care about is keeping this area clean from toxins because this area affects this area right here. So it's very, very beneficial for breast health, and that makes a big difference. One of the other pieces of the T-Tap workout is pumping action doesn't just have to be in the calf through walking. It can also be other places in the body. So when we do our clapping here, that's a pumping action around the shoulder. The small tap or hit of the hands, again, a slight shake will make a difference to help move lymph. That's the other reason why tapping the foot can make a difference, and we talk about that within the hoedowns move, but that's also why walking is beneficial because you lift your feet, you don't slide them. You lift your feet as you move them along so they do hit the ground. Now, you do get that with running, but you have to have a balance. A lot of times I like to use a visualization. If you ever remember those kind of carnival snakes you used to be able to get, it was this kind of sack that was full of water and it folded in on itself. So if you held it just in sort of way, it would sort of slither through your fingers and you'd catch it and slither and catch it and slither. But if you do that, it will keep moving. If you sort of gently do this and hold it gently. But if you squeeze it, what happens? It puffs up here, it puffs up there, and it stops moving. You really can think of your lymphatic system similarly. If you do a really hard, fast movement, lymph doesn't move. It moves through gentle movement to a degree. This is why massage, another great benefit of massage, is fantastic for your lymph system. And a lymphatic massage does incorporate some rocking and some moving and some flexing of the muscles, not just the relaxation. So it's a very active type of massage. It's not as relaxing as some other types of massage, but those will also move lymph. So all of those can be beneficial to you. That little pumping action we see in the clapping, we also see that in a twist. So if we do a gentle twisting action, that helps pump, versus a big action, that's not necessarily going to move your lymph. So those more gentle movements where a lot of times we may be thinking, what's the point of this? I'll skip over it. It's for your lymph system. It's getting that pumping action, or what Teresa always liked to describe as a squeegee action, working in the body and in the muscles. We also talked about body brushing helps move and encourage that lymph. That's part of the actual overall sequence that is put together. It's not just to follow the nervous system, but also to help maximize the lymph. And I did talk about that in last week's video as well. Massage, another great tool. What are some other things that could work really well? My homeopath likes to call it the milkshake machine. You see these a lot more often. They're becoming more and more and more popular. Or a vibration plate. A lot of your higher end gyms will have them. You can stand on them, hold on to them, and they kind of shake the whole body. The milkshake machine, you can lay down, you put your ankles in it, and it shakes this way, and it creates sort of this waving action up the body to, again, help encourage the lymph. The benefit of a milkshake machine over a vibration plate is actually the laying down portion. Part of getting your feet elevated, elevating your feet, is another great way to encourage your lymph to move. Gravity always pulls it down. So when we kind of invert ourselves, you don't have to flip yourself over upside down. You don't need an inversion table, but just elevating your feet will help drain the fluid out of your feet. It will help encourage by gravity, because remember, the muscles are the only real pumps. It's not like our heart where blood will pump even if we're in any position. But even with the pump of your heart, things will pool and settle just a little. The blood has a harder time moving on whatever side you're laying on, etc. So the lymph will do the same thing. So the milkshake machine, you get to lay down, you elevate your feet. The machine's probably 6 to 8 inches tall, and that allows you to elevate the feet, and then it encourages that lymph in the feet, especially, to drain back towards the center of the body. Breathing. This is another big one in postural restoration, and they did an entire, I believe it was actually a 5-week series on the lymphatic system and the immunity, which are so closely tied together. 80% of the lymph in your body drains through the left upper quadrant of your chest. So that big inhale and that big exhale makes a big difference. They also talked about the fact that the diaphragm, which is here, as it domes up, it creates suction that pulls from underneath. So that's part of how we pull and encourage that lymph from the lower body to come up. There's a secondary set of pelvic floor muscles that respond similar to the diaphragm. So now you have two things pulling up and rising and then dropping as we inhale and exhale. You actually have another set of muscles right across the chest that similarly do that as well in response to the lungs themselves. So big inhales, big exhales, also super, super, super important for helping encourage that lymph. And one final little piece that we want to talk about. We've really talked a lot about the physiology of the body and different things you can really do with the body to move the lymph. But think about How well do things move? How well does the water flow in your riverbed when there's not a lot of water there? You want to make sure that you stay hydrated and you have a good balance of hydration and minerals and electrolytes within the body. So again, drinking your proper amount of fluids, at least your 8-ounce glasses a day, super important to help give the lymph system what it needs to make that fluid that can then be pumped through the body in all these different ways we just talked about. All right, you guys. That is what we have for this week. I'm always open for questions. Your comments and your likes and shares mean so much to me. So thank you so much for making sure to do that and clicking below. In the meantime, I'm Keona Leah. I want to see you move, live, and thrive. So I'll see you on the next one.